You're muted, Nico.
Sorry, yes, I'm muted. I put my camera on, but I'm very dumb with this. I think it's time to start. These meetings tend to take a while before everybody clicks in, but let's start with the introduction and let's just say who, what, and why, and then we'll introduce the people, the speakers. We've got some very good speakers here, and then we'll carry on. I think everybody's seen the agenda. I think also what Annika is doing these days, she's sending out a virtual etiquette thing, and that's why I look at book racks behind, I must just say, Jim, we had a meeting, not a work meeting, a private meeting one evening of an organization. The one guy was lying in his bath with a glass of wine, and we could all see him, and I thought that was totally unacceptable. But yeah, these things happen. People don't always understand the virtual etiquette. But I think you all know to stick your hand up and so forth and so forth. So let me not waste any more time on that. The first speaker that we're going to ask to speak to the colleagues that are all clicked in is Jim O'Brien, and he will show you now who GAIN is. GAIN is an international organization which we are very fond of, and we're very near to it. Jim sits in Ireland. I don't know if he's there today. He travels the world, but he's in Ireland, very active. Then we've got Barry Pierce. Barry Pierce is now going to talk about more of the laboratory thing, which is more of a hands-on type of training. Alan Fletcher, he's our crushing expert in South Africa, and Alan has also been around with us for many, many years. He says he's going to have somebody else talk. Jaco van Wyk is also very clued up on the health and safety and so forth training sessions, which he'll share. Basil Johnson is the guy from the South African Road Federation. They are doing a huge amount of training. Jock Farmer is also a big training, most probably the biggest training company in South Africa, Prisma. And then I've got with me somebody that I know very well, whose name is Malcolm Siebert, who will just say a very short piece at the end, or if there's a gap, we'll ask Malcolm to just share with us what he can do in training. He's been around for many, many years and also involved in training. So that's roughly who we've asked this session. Now, maybe I should just say right up front at the introduction why we want to hold this training type of coordination. I think we now, most of us are happy that we're getting out of COVID, and he's now gone. He's still a little bit around old COVID, but he's now gone. And I think we need to get back into training and to getting things going again. I've been asked by many companies, and my chairman and myself are seeing CEOs, and they have all basically said that there's a need for their people in their companies to be properly trained again, and it's all fallen flat. We said, okay, fine, let's put this up, and we might even do another one in a month or two's time. So we just get this thing rolling. The one nice thing about this session, it's recorded. It goes onto YouTube. Annika then sends the link out to, and then we also attach the papers and the presentations that will be referred to today, and any other material that you want to people want to send that might not be asked to speak. Please share it with us, and we share it with the members out there, because I think that's our need. Our need is to get training going again. And I'm going to leave it over to the speakers. We don't have too long because we've got too many speakers, but let's see if we can finish in an hour and a half, 2 hours. So the first person I'm going to hand over to is Jim O'Brien. As I said, he comes from GAIN, Global Aggregate Initiative, and he sits in Ireland, and he says the sun is shining, and he's very well dressed. Typically, Jim, I've got a shirt on, a t-shirt. Jim, over to you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Nico, for that very kind introduction. Just a moment of panic. How do I share screen here on Teams? I have my PowerPoint.
Jim?
Do you see it coming up? No, okay.
Little block with an arrow pointing upwards on your folder.
Yeah, now I have it. Okay, yeah, okay. And where is this one? Is it coming up now?
Yes.
Good.
If you press F5, you'll go into presentation. There you go. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. Thank you, Nico, again for that kind introduction. And for inviting me as representing GAIN, the Global Aggregates Information Network, which is a unique voluntary linkage between all the major aggregates associations around the world. You see them there on the map, and very proudly, ASPASA represents South Africa, and indeed, so far, is the only African member of GAIN. And we're tremendously proud to have ASPASA as part of that team, and delighted to share what we can from other aggregates associations around the world. As you can see, the GAIN has representation across the 6 continents of the globe, and represents, believe it or not, 80% of the global output of aggregates globally. The global production of aggregates being just about 45 billion tons per year. So we share best practice, and safety is very much part of that. Um, Unfortunately, yet in the aggregates industry, we're not that good at collecting precise safety data from all around the world. So for that reason, I have worked on the cement companies, which also have very strong presence in aggregates. So they are better at reporting data on fatalities and accidents, and for that reason they provide a very good database on which to really build up some good knowledge of safety in the call it building materials industry more broadly, and how they go about training and the things they do to improve safety performance. Looking at their record of fatalities over the last 12 years or so, it's not great. It's very bad. In fact, you can see the bars represent the number of fatalities reported in each of those years for the 25 companies that I've analysed, and they, in fairness, do represent over 500,000 employed, both direct employees and contractors. So it's a very, very big cohort database, and that provides a very good information on performance. And in that chart, the blue are employee fatalities, the light blue are contractor, and the black are third party. So it's not good. It is declining, but not good. For example, in 2020, there were still 100 total fatalities in that cohort, which is terrible, because every fatality is a life lost, and it's a family ruptured in sorrow. So we set about in the cement industry of analysing what is causing these fatalities, and that very much tells you where the training and what actions have to be taken. So analysing the cement industry fatalities over that time period produced some very strong data. And this pie chart shows the causes, of the direct causes of the fatalities over that time period. The blue segment is almost half of all fatalities, and that is traffic and mobile plant. So anything with wheels on it, be it big quarry trucks, be it forklifts, be it cars, be it vehicles, be it trucks, they are an awful cause of fatalities. Secondly, the brown sector is almost a quarter of fatalities, and that's fall from heights. There in the cement industry and aggregates industry, there's a lot of machinery at heights, and therefore a huge risk of falls or things falling from a height. And the third most common cause of fatalities is caught in moving or starting equipment. And that comes back to isolation of equipment when in maintenance, and machinery starting up unexpectedly. So those are the three big main causes, representing in total 85% of all of the fatalities. And that really provides the strong, clear road towards training and improvement and eliminating fatalities. On the other hand, looking at the accident records, that is lost time injuries, where there is one or more shifts or days lost from work. And the causes there are very different. Not many people really realize that. But they, shown in this chart, the brown, are the simple trips, slips, trips and falls, which, you know, comes back to housekeeping in a lot of cases. People tripping and falling just because there's something left on the walkway or there's a pothole or whatever. So very silly, unfortunately, cause of accidents. And then falling and moving objects, things falling from a height or falling on people's hands or feet. And the most common types of accidental injuries are to the hands and feet, and very much caused by falling and moving objects. And the third main cause of injuries is overexertion. That's mainly lifting, manual handling, back strains and that kind of thing. But that tells you, compared to the previous chart, that the causes of lost time injuries are completely different from fatality causes. And that is a very big clue, an important point as to how to prevent fatalities. Of course, we want to eliminate every lost time injury and every fatality, but there are different approaches needed in training to succeed in both. Obviously, one helps the other, but focus is needed to eliminate accidents and to eliminate fatalities. You know, in the cement industry, that picture just gives you a quick impression of the type of very big plant that's involved in making cement. And, you know, in the past, there were some awful tragic fatalities due to spills of hot raw meal at over 1,000 centigrade, fires in dust, coal stockpiles or bins, explosions, and some very nasty things as well from alternative fuels and materials. But, you know, strangely, all of those things have been now designed out of the industry. And the predominant causes of fatalities are the plain, ordinary, generally predictable, but very unfortunate events that occur. So it comes back to all the basic things and training on how to avoid those. And, you know, there are too many fatalities, and those pictures give you a few examples of the terrible things of particularly to do with mobile plant of any kind, but also entrapment in machinery, some horrible serious injuries and fatalities of lack of isolation, things moving unexpectedly, things that, again, should be avoided with just simple precautions. And that, unfortunately, is what fatality prevention is about, is prevention of the sudden lack of concentration and sudden unexpected movement that is the cause of tragedy. In the cement industry, we started about the year 2000 really focusing on safety. And, you know, initially we had to actually start gathering data and analysing it and finding out what how many fatalities and accidents were occurring, and then how to prevent these. And we were making a certain amount of progress, but then about the year 2005 onwards, we began to say, look, how are we doing relative to other industries? Are there lessons we should be learning? So we did an exercise of looking at a whole lot of very major industries, as those mentioned in the yellow box at the bottom left, analysing what they do to prevent fatalities and accidents. What's the secret? What's the silver bullet? And we covered within those about 12 different very major industries, a lot of which had very high risk activities. For example, forestry or tires or oil and gas industry. They, like the building materials sector and quarrying and mining, have very high hazardous activities. And, we did an analysis which covered over 2 million employees and over 1 million contractors. And it came out amazingly that there were many of these companies that could achieve accident and fatality rates 10 times lower than those were prevailing in our building materials industry. That absolutely amazed us, that they had learnt lessons that we had yet to learn and set about learning them very rapidly. And, they were actually 10 times lower. That was amazing. And therefore, the industry on that basis, the cement and aggregates industry, set a goal in about the year 2008 of reducing its fatalities and accidents by a factor of 10. It's not just 5 or 10%, it's by a factor of 10. And a thing that came out of that analysis was that 70% of the companies that were successful had very specific fatality prevention programs. That hadn't twigged to us beforehand, that the fatality prevention was something specialized, something different. And, they had found that LTI reduction had not necessarily led to fatality reduction. There's all the tradition in the industry of the bird or the Heinrich pyramid, where you eliminate the near misses and then the more serious things. But that didn't work necessarily for eliminating fatalities. And, they had been highly successful and had in their industries over 5 or 10 years achieved huge gains. So that really set a very challenging and practicable target for the cement and aggregates industries. And, again, analyzing further, what was the secret of those success of those companies? And 6 factors came out, very simple ones, but number one was the highly visible CEO commitment. A lot of CEOs had sort of, what shall I say, just verbal commitments to improving safety, and it was important, etc. But they hadn't really spelt out how really serious they were about it. And that is the number one factor of reducing fatalities. Safety training, number 2. And it's not just about safety managers doing the training. It actually included from the chief executive right down through the senior managers that they had to be safety trained. It's not appropriate for them to delegate safety improvement to the safety officers. It had to go top down. And then number 3, establish golden rules for the areas of the particular industry where fatalities were very, the predominant causes. And in that, contractors was a very big one. There was too many cases of contractors being brought in on site. Okay, they ticked the boxes, but they weren't aware of the risks and hazards of working on a quarry or in a cement plant or in whatever concrete plant. So contractors really needed to be checked out before they came in and during their work on site. Drivers of all kinds, from a forklift truck to quarry trucks, everything, training of them and proper safety management. And finally, number 6 was rigorous fatality investigation procedures, which was involved getting not just beyond the direct causes to the root causes. So those 6 factors really were the secret of success, and it's amazing how consistent it came out in the companies that were successful. And that really put the focus on training. Just some examples. A highly visible CEO commitment. A president of a major company said, I want every employee to understand this. Your CEO never wants you to perform an unsafe act. Your senior management team never wants you to perform an unsafe act, etc. He was spelling it out really, really clear. And that is the key, getting the CEO message. I don't want contractors hurt. I don't want visitors hurt. And that really set the scene. Of another approach in a different company, they took what they call a heavy-handed, good old-fashioned approach, where just unsafe activities or unsafe management was simply unacceptable. And all of the major cement companies and aggregates companies now have it as a major part of an employee of the manager bonus package, that safety is very important. And if they fail on the safety, not just the financial penalty, but it severely affects their promotional possibilities. And another company said, yeah, we were good at reducing the small stuff through the bird pyramid, but not the big stuff. So he really put the focus on the big hitter items. In terms of call it the main safety fatality causes in the building materials sector, they are very much as listed there: working at heights, energy isolations, confined spaces, quarry blasting, cranes, hoists, remote working, and that kind of thing. So every company developed very specific fatality prevention programs in those areas, which involve very specific training in those areas. And that is, it's not just the generality of training, it's the big focus of training. And, every specific thing, and conveyor belts, for example, unfortunately, conveyor belts are killers at the roller stations. So many people with good intentions of cleaning, a hand gets caught and disaster thereafter. And, another factor that came out, it's new recruits. The guy in the first week of work was horribly exposed to potential accidents, or like myself, the oldies who thought they knew it all, but yet forgot how important and crucial safety was. So that produces a very precise focus on safety in the building materials industry. And, contractor initiative, they developed a very specific document on the things to do in employing contractors. And I can share these documents with you afterwards. And, doing all the things of pre-qualification, definition of the work, the award, the pre-commencement checks, contract implementation, and so on. While a contractor, of course, is responsible for their safety on site, the employer needs to check that they are doing those things, and to ensure that safety is actually achieved by contractors. And similarly, there was developed a driver safety initiative, and there are very specific safety elements for drivers themselves, on alertness, drugs and alcohol testing, seatbelts, loading, not overloading, use of mobile phones, high visibility PPE, and so on. And then on the broader thing of from the management perspective, of driver qualification, selection, vehicle maintenance, pre-start checks, and of course training where appropriate. And that very much gave a list of things that were important for employees and for the drivers themselves. And that, did have a great effect, and was a hugely important area. So finding the root cause was another thing, that in many cases, the analysis of causes of fatalities had been too much just at a high level. It wasn't getting down into the detail. What was the really root cause? Was it inadequate safety leadership, or lack of work planning, or judgment by the victim, engineering design, skill level, competency? Or was it, distraction? And this is where the whole COVID things comes in, that both management and employees have been distracted by COVID. They're naturally worrying about their own health, about their family health, and and equally the difficulty in actually carrying out physical training, and that is a result of where fatalities and accidents did actually slip in the last couple of years. And these graphs show it pretty dramatically. On the left is the graph of employee fatality rate in the building materials sector over the last 15 years or so. And you can see that there was a very significant, and back in 2005, that is when the industry set the target of achieving a 10-fold reduction in fatalities. And it did extremely well, as the red arrow shows, right up to about the year 2018. But then things slipped, and that's where the the COVID really caused things to deteriorate. And there has been a dramatic rise. Things have slipped in the years 2019, 2020, and the same in lost time injuries in the right-hand graph. The industry did actually achieve, believe it or not, a ninefold improvement in lost time injuries. But again, it slipped in the last couple of years. And that really is where now the industry is reassessing and saying, look, guys, we have to go back and sort out our safety training all over again, get things working, get focus back on training. And, to conclude, very major progress in reducing fatalities and accidents can be achieved. The graphs show that, but it has slipped over the last couple of years. And this is not just in South Africa, it's right across the globe, and because of COVID, unfortunately. And, it's time to reset and to restart and refocus on safety training again. And again, I just list there the 6 key safety rules that were the key to reducing fatalities. And I thank you very much for Nico for the opportunity of presenting that. And I hope it does give good encouragement to all listening in to achieve excellence in safety. And thank you for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. I saw a hand. I don't know if it was intentionally or not. Is there somebody who wants to ask a question? I can maybe make a comment. If there is, please do so. Jim, are you going to stay in with us, or are you going to?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Delighted to answer questions at any time.
Yes, please. Thanks. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for keeping to the time that I've allocated. Otherwise, it'll run away. Thank you, Jim. And I'll introduce the next speaker, who's Barry Pierce. Barry Pierce is our chairman for our technical committee. And Barry is boffin in the technical side of operations. And yes, we use him a lot. So Barry, I'm not going to, you can say a bit more about yourself, and then Jim, I don't know if you want to just take your video off.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, yeah, otherwise Barry might have a problem in presenting his
yeah, sure, sorry, I
presentation. Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Barry.
Right, afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for your time. I just want to check whether the presentation has come up and is visible to you guys.
Thanks. Yes, it is.
Good. Right. Folks, I sit as the technical chair for ASPASA. I came in, it must have been just prior to COVID or thereabouts, with the drive that Nico is looking at from a quality perspective within the ASPASA membership. It obviously runs on a very similar sort of approach to what you got with health and safety and the environment. The only difference is this is not a legislated process. It's really what I would refer to as your bottom line scenario. And I think for a fairly extended period of time, there's been maybe not enough emphasis placed on the laboratory within the quarrying fraternity. And that is possibly one of my main drives. So what I'd like to share with you over the next couple of minutes is just 3 initiatives that are in place at the moment with regards to improving the quality within the laboratories for the ASPASA members, on a similar basis to what we've got with health and safety and environmental audits. There, as I said, there are 3 things I'll have a look at. There's the external quality audit. There is a video process that is in place now as well that can be subscribed to for watching the videos, the test methods that you conduct on a regular basis online. And then also there's a process that's been put in place to deem your lab staff competent, to ensure that you're getting a result that you can actually rely on for making the management decisions that you do. On the technical audit side of things, this is something that I have presented on a number of times with the ASPASA membership. The audit has been set up in the form of 17025. That is the international standard for laboratory accreditation. It is based also on ISO 9001. So if you've got a management system in place, all that this really does as 17025 is adds in a technical aspect in the form of the testing that happens in the lab as against just the more paperwork basis of 9001. So the three main aspects that you need to have a look at is the personnel certification. I'll speak about that a little bit later. That is done currently under ISO 17024. There's the calibration and verification of the equipment that you're utilizing in the quarries. And again, it's something that maybe took some time for ASPASA to come online with, and that is the changeover from the old TMH1 methods to the new 3001 methods. And obviously, one of the downsides of that is it does incorporate a bit of additional equipment or a change in equipment, but that is not that onerous with regards to the physical costing itself. There's also participation in interlaboratory comparisons, and the reason for doing testing between facilities, and this is preferably for the larger organizations that I'm talking about or referring to as Lafarge, Afrimat, AfriSam, it would be participating in comparative testing with facilities outside of your organization, that you can start picking up on whether you have got something that is a built-in error within the testing that you're doing, that you are quite confident then in the results that you're actually obtaining. And then, of course, there's a process by which you collect and store evidence of the actual testing results themselves. With regards to the way it is undertaken and the costing thereof, as I said, it's very similar to the health and safety and environmental audits that are run through ASPASA and are quite successful. And we would like to start actually driving this slightly more aggressively to provide a better service to the membership. Basically, the idea is it's not seen as a carrot and stick type scenario. It's really in the form of a assistance in training to improve what the labs are actually producing on your individual facilities. When I refer to ISO 17025, a lot of people shudder and like to turn away and lose interest, but it's not 17025 as per the accredited laboratories that you might be using outside of your facility to get a result from. It's an abridged 17025. It's been done in a form that places the emphasis on the information that you need to make sure that you are sure that your results are actually fine. You can go the whole hog in some of the instances and do 17025 if you feel that it is necessary within your organization. But for the smaller quarries, my feeling would be this abridged version, which will give you the three main pillars: accredited or certified staff, participation in ILC or proficiency testing, and the calibration of your equipment and the verification thereof, the ongoing verification of it, is something that is well within everybody's grasp. And if it can save you on one or two of the rejected loads or materials that go out of your facility on an annual basis, it's basically paid for itself. The basic audit, first off, I'll get into the laboratory. I'll run through a couple of the issues that you need to. Obviously, it might be something that is relatively new to a lot of the facilities. So initially, it'll be more an information sharing session. I'll run through the physical audit itself with or in the facility and give you a sense of what it is we're looking for so that you may be better prepared for it second time around. The second audit would have a look at the gaps that were found in the first audit to see how those have been addressed, and then to run the second audit itself as well to see if everything is still running as well as it was the first time around. And then the third audit would obviously be a matter of just doing the same thing over and over and over again, year for year. Look at what the gaps were in the previous years and making sure that they're actually being addressed and the process is ongoing in that regard. You've got staff changeovers, there might be changes in the test methods. All of that information I would like to then address at these types of audits, that you guys stay abreast of what's really going on and that you are providing the best set of results to make decisions on. The benefits, you've obviously got comparable results now with commercial facilities. You might actually find that you need to send information or testing to the commercial facilities less and less because of the confidence you've got in your own the own information that you're producing within your facilities. There is obviously confidence in your lab results. And the quality of what you're producing, and it should be resulting in less rejected material and an increase in profits and happy clients, which is really at the end of the day what I think everybody is looking for. As I said, we'll have a look at the management system, how you record and keep your information. We'll look at the calibration, the verification of the equipment. We'll have a look at the staff competencies and the training that is being undertaken there, and then obviously your interlab comparisons and the results analysis thereof. It will be a stepped process. It's not, you're not going to jump in the first year and get 100% and hit 100% right the way through there. Pretty much the same way that you don't do that with your health and safety and environmental audits. There's obviously an aim towards perfection, but actually ever getting there, I think, is a little bit of utopia. So it'll be to continuously look at improving the quality and capabilities within the laboratory, and then also assisting the staff with the training, setting up PTs or ILCs that you've got. The large organizations might like to run an in-house, an interlab comparison of their facilities, maybe within a region, and then have one of those laboratories run a national PT that they've got some sort of reference as to where they're going from. It sounds like a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it's going to really be a hand-holding exercise where we will assist and train the people to improve the quality of what's actually coming out of your facilities and the testing results that you're obtaining on which you actually base your decisions. So in conclusion, on the technical audit side of things, there will be quality labs, experienced personnel, there will be improved confidence in your results, and it'll allow you to make better management decisions on the quality of the product that you're producing and actually selling. It's not going to be a quick fix. It is going to take a while to actually get this in place, especially if we do it once every year. Some of the guys might want to do 2 within the first year, 1 to actually get a sense of what's going on and do as much correction as they can within that six-month period before a second review, but that is entirely up to the individual organizations. And the main aim is to ensure that we create professional facilities whose results are valid and on which good management decisions can be made. So what I will be looking at is getting hold of the various facilities. I'm based in Cape Town and I do travel around the country quite extensively. So I would look at making contact with you folk when I'm in various areas around the country and hopefully be able to run some audits for you folk and get a sense of the benefit that this will actually provide for you. My email is down there. It hasn't changed in a while. My cell phone is on this as well. So you will be able to make contact with me if you're actually desperate to have an audit. I'd be more than happy to make some time to come up and have a look at you guys, your guys' facilities and help you actually get this off the ground. On the video side of things, there's a company that's been established. This is on the training of personnel. Company's called Basso Productions, and they've made a whole series of videos based on SANS 3001. The idea is it's on-site assistance for the training in the form of online videos. So as long as you've got an internet link on your facility and a computer screen, you'll be able to get access to these particular videos on a subscription basis. You still need to do some form of physical practical assessment. So you can't just expect the guy to watch the video, go into the lab and actually do it perfectly. So it will be what they refer to as a blended learning approach. The video will be available to you for as long as your subscription is in place. I'll pop the costs up in a short while. And pardon me. And the idea is watch the videos, let the guy become competent. If there are a number of people in your laboratory, they can actually compare notes. And when they feel happy that they're reasonably confident in what they're putting forward, you can ask somebody to come out there and do some form of physical witnessing and make sure that they haven't missed anything from the video's perspective. And you can then go to the next step, which is to actually request that they get accredited or certified through the ISO 17024, which I'll talk about in a short while. So really the videos are the first step towards the training of your personnel. There will then be a second intervention to check that they've actually integrated all the stuff they've seen on the video in the laboratory. And the final step would be go the route of 17024 and get the person certified through that ISO standard. The NLA, the National Laboratory Association, has got the 17024 process pretty much nailed down. The only thing they're still looking at is CPD points, and that will be in place, and it's basically ready to run. And we will have a look at that in the next section that I'll cover. The basic test methods that we're looking at for the quarry side is your basic granular methods, aggregate methods, which is AG, and the CO for the concrete. I did notice the previous speaker also made mention of the fact that the cement or concrete industry is very closely affiliated to it. So what I'd like to look at doing is, if I can just go back to the audit side, I would like to be doing audits on a particular facility for both the concrete laboratory and the granular laboratory. And it might be something that is discussed over a period of time, and it might be beneficial to actually merge those two facilities into one to make the testing applicable to both granular aggregates and concrete, rather than having two separate laboratories. But that is something maybe we can have a look at into a later stage. So from the aggregate side, grading, flakiness, and ALD are the three main ones. The ACV and 10% fact, if you've got a concrete crushing machine, you can do that on site as well. From the granular perspective, there is your grading, your PIs. MDD and CBR in most cases wouldn't maybe be looked at all the facilities, but some of the larger facilities might be looking at that type of information to ensure that they're producing something that is actually acceptable. And then from the concrete side, the slump, cube manufacturing, and then the crushing and curing is what we would be having a look at as your package for the quarry members. This is more than adequate for the ASPASA membership requirements to assist in getting the training process underway and to deem the people that are working within your facilities actually competent for those particular methods. You can have a look at the website. It's basaproductions.co.za. Again, this will be up on the website in a short period of time, so you can actually go back there and have a look at it, or you can just get hold of myself. With regards to the packaging, there is a flyer that is available on the ASPASA website. Nico, you must just confirm whether that has gone up as yet or not. So if you can get hold of BASA, you ask for it, the annual package will be 15,500 Rand for all of those test methods, both the granular and the aggregates, as well as the concrete. All of them covered for 15,500 per quarry, which is, if you break it down again, then divide that by 12 months, you've got just over 1,000 Rand a month for having all those videos available to you for the staff to have a look at, and the other personnel that would like to have a look at it as well. The one thing that I'd like to mention about the videos is as well, just to ensure that you are aware of the benefits of this. Should there be an update in the video, you won't have a hard copy with you. You'll have the soft copy online. We will update that video. So the next time you log on and have a look at the video, the updates will be incorporated into that video. So you will never be behind with the updates for the methods. And we will highlight those in the video so that you're aware of the fact that, hold on a minute, there's been an improvement in the test method or a change in the test method. This is what it is. If it involves additional training, you can actually get into that, obviously with the help of the videos, or you can look at maybe buying the new test method if it is such a drastic change to the method itself. The other annual packages, if you split them up, if you look at just the aggregates and granulars, it'll be 7.5 grand a year, excluding your VAT. And if you look at the annual package just for the concrete on its own, that'll be 9 grand. So obviously, if you look at the summation of those two and you look at the all-in package, the all-in package actually is a lot more beneficial to you from an economic perspective than buying them individually. But again, that is a choice that lies with you folk. All right, the last point I'd like to have a look at is the deeming competent of the personnel. This is done through the NLA under ISO 17024. And the reason why we went this route is because to try and get it through the QCTO or the current SAQA standards became really onerous, with continual changes to what was required, etc. And we felt that this was easier to manage within the industry, and it's being done for both the civil laboratories as well as all the manufacturers. That includes your asphalt suppliers, your bituminous suppliers, and obviously ASPASA as your primary supplier of crushed material. 17025, it's a deeming competent of personnel. It's a framework similar to what 17025 and 9001 is. So we conform to very stringent requirements as to how we do it to ensure that it's free and fair and unbiased. The individuals will be certified, so they will get a certificate that says that they have been deemed competent by an outside party according to the international standards. And we will meet the requirements of those standards. It is something that is being looked at from the SANRAL perspective, that all the members that work on their laboratory sites, on the contracts that they have, will need to be accredited under 17024. So it is the route that SANRAL has gone. That's possibly why the 17025s are in place for the laboratories. They want them to be accredited so that they can be held accountable for that. And then a further requirement will be that the staff that work within those facilities are also accredited under 17024. So from an ASPASA's perspective, what that does is it doesn't allow you as an organization to deem your staff competent. It's an external standard that is actually asked for by SANRAL, and you can then be quite confident that the folk within your facilities are testing acceptably. It's globally accepted as a process. It's done pretty much for a lot of the trades, and it's relatively easy to actually get done. Basic methods that we'll have looking covered for you folk would be on the aggregate side, the sampling of both stockpiles and from conveyor belts, riffling, quartering, and coning, the sieve analysis, flakiness index, and the ALD. Then there's also bulk density and apparent density, and water absorption for the plus and minus 5 mol, as well as the loose and compacted bulk densities, which is still under TMH1 and mainly applicable to the concrete fraternity. ACV and 10% fact, if you've got a concrete crushing machine, that testing is applicable. And then on the granular side, again, a repeat of the stockpiling, sampling, as well as treated and untreated layers. Nuclear gauge density, obviously something that is not applicable to the ASPASA members. Riffling, quartering, and coning comes up again. Sieve analysis and PR5, that's just your finest modulus and grading modulus. Atterberg limits, OMC, MDD, and then your CBR that comes in there as well. So you can see that there's a slight adaptation to what we're looking at for the videos. And on the testing side, there might be some additional bits and pieces that you need to have a look at. And then moisture content, it's applicable to both the aggregates and the granular. On the concrete side, it's the sampling of fresh concrete, the slump test, the flow test, making and curing of cubes, and the density and compressive strengths. Core drilling obviously wouldn't be applicable to you folk unless there's a dispute and you need to have cores drilled for that particular scenario, but normally that is left for an outside party. There's a witnessing process that is undertaken. So once you've watched the videos, you've had somebody check that the person's actually integrated all the information and is testing correctly, you can actually ask an independent witnesser to come out and actually have a look at it. It might be a little bit more difficult to do that on the far-flung facilities. So we are identifying areas within the country where we can do that independently and not have any influence. But that is something I think from the ASPASA membership side that we need to have a look at to check the cost of sending an individual out to maybe watch an individual get accredited becomes quite expensive. So we try to run those in groups of 15. So it might be that you've got 5 or 6 guys from ASPASA, and you've got the balance of those people coming through from the commercial facilities or the other secondary suppliers. The evaluators are independent. At the moment, we're using all these SANAS assessors for that, but over time, we're going to grow that number of evaluators so that we can do more and more of the folk. We've estimated that there must be in the vicinity of about 5,000 people that can be certified under this particular scheme. It's quite an onerous logistical scenario, but it's something that I think is really beneficial and will be of benefit to all who partake in it. The actual certification process, you will, once the candidate is confident, as I've said, in the ability, and they've been through the training exercise and the watching of the videos, they can register for the aggregates or the granular or the concrete. It's done individually. You will run a theoretical assessment initially online before you go in to ensure that you are ready for it and that you've got the theory in place. And then we'll do the competency where you need to obtain at least 80% of the test methods. Now, a lot of people say 80% is really high. Sorry, it's 80% of the basic methods that we're looking at. We're looking at a 75% mark being obtained for that. And the reason for 75% is you don't want to be 50%. You don't want to be half wrong in the method that you're doing. You'd far rather be closer to 100% because of the decisions that are based on that. And if the guy's doing that method on a regular basis, he really shouldn't be battling in getting that 75%. We've got about 3 to 5 delegates per evaluator, depending on what we're having a look at. There is a moderation process in place as well, so you can see that this is where all that framework of 17024 comes in. If the person is unsuccessful, they can re-register. And also, just to be fair and open, there is an appeal process as well. So if the guy is unhappy with the decision that's been made through the witnessing and the moderation, they can appeal that decision, and we'll get independents to have a look at how that was done and whether there's any mitigating circumstances. The certification will be in place for a period of 5 years, and during that 5-year period, the individual will need to do some form of CPD activity. Simple stuff. We're not talking about stuff that the engineers will be doing. It's really, is the person still employed in the industry? Do they still understand any of the changes that have occurred within the test method? Are they attending any form of meetings or conferences or training sessions that we're putting forward? There will be stuff that we put up on the NLA's website where they need to answer a couple of questions on a regular basis, and that just keeps the people current and available to all the changes. There will be a database also of all the people that have registered and qualified, and those that are in the process of being qualified as well, or certified. So yeah, that covers it from my side. Really keen on getting the first bunch of guys certified, not 2021, but in 2022. COVID did sort of put the skids on this process quite a bit over the last 2 years, but everything is in place now. So the videos are available. The certification is your second step, and obviously part of that, which would almost be like a combination of training and evaluation of what's going on, is when the audits happen, there will be a certain amount of assistance, if I can call it that, with regards to the training of the staff that's going on there. So the audit could almost double up as the checking to see that the individual is ready for the certification. So it's not, don't look at it as two separate things. Your audit and the readiness for those staff members to be certified can actually happen at the same time. And if I'm not mistaken, yep, that's it. Thanks very much indeed for your time, and look forward to being of assistance to you in the future. Nico, over to you.
Thanks, Barry. That was informative as usual. I don't know if there's any somebody with an urgent question or comment. Stick your hand up. If not, then we're going to move on. Thanks for keeping to the time, Barry. That's great.
Pleasure.
We will share the presentation, and then your email address and so forth will be visible. And if anybody can't find it, then let us know, and we'll send it on to Barry and he'll contact you. But I think your type of training is crucial. It's the type of thing that makes a business change. It differs. It helps making money. And I think that's what we're looking at. So thank you very, very much for that. Okay.
Sorry, Nico, if I could also just state that it's not just the making of the money. The other thing is also improving the image of ASPASA. So the better that quality of what's coming out of those organizations, the better ASPASA is actually seen. So it's actually also a marketing stunt in my view.
You're right. Yeah. I just want to say to the people that are listening, they mustn't ask me about any of the acronyms, because engineers and lawyers normally talk in acronyms. But okay, that's on the light, Barry. Thanks for all the acronyms. I'll the next 6 weeks. Right.
I don't want to tell them what it is. That's what the training's for. Then I can get paid for doing it.
Okay, so it's a secret. Okay, typical. Thanks, Barry.
All righty.
Right. The next person is Alan Fletcher. Alan said to me somebody else is presenting on his behalf. Alan, I got it all wrong and I didn't write it down, but that's up to you, my bro.
Okay, are you there? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay, my name is Alan Fletcher. Most of the people know me in the industry. I've been in the industry a long time. I'm in training, and the company is Opsman Training Services, and thank you for the time to give a presentation here. My colleague begged me to give the presentation because he knows I talk for too long. And I keep on talking and everybody has to chop me down. So we've got 20 minutes. And Mervyn Smith, who works also for Opsman, and he's 22 years at Anglo-American, and he's a qualified metallurgist. And he is now going to give you the presentation. Over to Mervyn.
Thank you, Alan. Right. Can everybody see the presentation?
No, it's not showing yet.
Okay, let me just get back there.
That's it.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, I'm going to present today the training that Opsman Training Services is giving in the crushing and screening. So who are Opsman? We're an MQA CETA accredited training and skills development provider. So we're registered with the MQA. We've also got our ISO certification through TV Rhineland. And we're proud partners. We've got a memorandum of understanding signed with Pilot Crush Tech and with Meta Autotech, the OEM manufacturers of the equipment in the aggregates and the mining industry. So to ensure training success, we're committed to developing the learning solutions that contribute to elevating job-specific competencies, the knowledge and skills of our products and equipment, and the highest quality and accuracy. And Opsman, our vision, our goal is to provide excellent and practical training in the mining processing industries. And we're very proud of the accomplishments thus far. As you know, Alan started the company a couple of years ago and is carried it forward. Our mission is to support our vision is we provide MQA CETA approved skills program training to learners. All our facilitators and assessors, moderators, we qualified in terms of MQA CETA accredited. We provide formative, which is the classroom training, the workplace, which is on the job training, and the summative training afterwards, which is the assessments, the moderation, the verification to get the people fully competent. And it's not 80% competence. You need to get 100% to be deemed competent in terms of the MQA. In the end, it's training the leaders of tomorrow. So in terms of Opsman, we have our SHIRK policy, which is safety, health, environment, risk, and quality policy. So in terms of safety, we subscribe to the hierarchy of controls. In terms of the health management, we comply to the COVID non-pharmaceutical practice of social distancing. So everybody's been hit by COVID, and we know what that has done to the training environment, and this is why we're having this intervention today, to bring training back on track. In terms of environmental management, Opsman is committed to preserving the environment through consistent application of the environmental management and performance standards. In terms of risk and opportunity management, we subscribe to the principles of plan, do, check, and act. And quality management, like I said, we've got a quality management system in place, and we are conforming to the ISO 9001:2015 standards. So what training does Opsman provide? Firstly, we have one-day crushing and screening application seminar. This is for your managers or owners of your aggregate companies to attend so that they get a better understanding of the overview, the products, the applications, quality, safety issues. We talk about rock and ore characteristics, how to ensure sustainability and profitability of their operations. Then we also have a one-day process improvement seminar. This is more for your process design engineers to attend so that they can have a better understanding of the plant, identify process challenges, do mass balancing, debottlenecking, and apply improvements to their plant. Then we can also, depending on whether the companies approach us, to do tailor-made operational and maintenance training. So we look at every client's own individual equipment. We tailor-make the courses to suit them on their particular equipment, which can include preventive actions, repairs, and life cycle issues. Then there's what's happened over the past few years. Everybody knows the crushing and screening schools that have happened. It's a 4-day training intervention. And the good thing about this is that it allows for interaction from people from various companies within the industry to share their experiences with each other and to be able to give them a comprehensive overview of both the operational and the maintenance issues that affect their equipment. How to optimize the operation, troubleshoot problems. So construction customers from multidisciplinary teams from both process and engineering are welcome to attend. It covers the crushing and screening process fundamentals and the safety and the maintenance aspects. Then also, like I said, we are MQA accredited, so we also provide the MQA accredited crushing and screening skills program, which is an NQF level 3 training, which is 33 credits, which is that MQA SPO 17117. Like I said, it's the formative and the summative accredited training. Yes, this is 52 days of training, which is 77 days calendar training if you take Saturdays and Sundays. But we conveniently break it down into 3 workshops to fit into the client's shifts and shutdown schedules. Upon completion of this training, the participant will be competent to operate the crushing and screening equipment, also be registered on the NQF. So they will have a detailed portfolio of evidence of their journey towards competence. And if they pay the levies to the MQA, they'll also receive the certificate of competence, which is not issued by Opsman, but it's issued by the MQA themselves. Then our curriculum includes, like I say, it's cross-section of the parts identification. We have troubleshooting videos, checklists. There's exams at the end of each course, where for the other courses, it's 50%. But like I said, for the MQA accredited training, you have to score 100% to be competent. And it's not a question of, okay, so you failed. If you don't score 100%, you're deemed not yet competent, and you can repeat it until you are competent. Then also, it is recommended for the training that the delegates have at least a basic knowledge of aggregates in the mining equipment. And if you're in doubt as to what training is suitable for your requirements, contact us, and together we can build a training program presented on your site or at a suitable venue to suit your needs. So whatever your crushing and training screening needs, whether it's primary crushers, jaws, or primary gyratories and feeders, whether it's your secondary HP, GPs, Simons, whether it is your screening or conveyor facilities, putting the whole lot together into a process, even ancillary equipment like your hydraulic breakers, that kind of thing. Opsman covers the whole lot. We integrate that training together with the OEM training manuals from Pilot and Metso, and like I say, tied into the MQA accreditation so that we train the leaders of tomorrow. The training that we offer, we've given out brochures for this year so far. So we're having in March, the 8th to the 11th of March, we're having our first crusher school at the Birchwood in Boksburg. The price at 11,200 per person. In July, we're again going to have it in Cape Town. The venue still to be confirmed. In August, we're going to have a 1-day application seminar at Hole in One Boutique in Roodepoort. In September, we'll have another crusher school in the Northern Cape. In October, we'll have another crusher school down in KwaZulu-Natal. And in November, we'll have another one in Roodepoort. And then, like I said, we can do tailor-made training, but again, maximum 12 delegates. This is to fit into the COVID requirements. And then don't take my word for it. Look at the training that has been conducted from a forest field as Zambia, Botswana, Namibia, all over. Since 2016, Opsman has provided training throughout the aggregates and mining industry. If you need any more information, there's our contact details. You can contact us at the phone or the emails provided. The question is not whether you can afford to train people, but whether you can afford not to train them. So you've got to weigh the cost of what it costs you when someone is injured or dies. or if you get issued with a Section 54 from the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. That's where they come and stop your plant and you first have to retrain everybody. Or the cost of breakdowns from lack of knowledge or inability to troubleshoot. Or the cost of product being out of spec produced by unskilled operators. Or the cost of suboptimal throughput due to the inability to debottleneck. Versus the cost of creating a competent workforce, the cost of upskilling a person and what that actually does to their motivation, the cost of achieving safety or production targets, the cost of getting maintenance right the first time, every time, and peace of mind. So I want to thank you for your attention and any questions?
Very quiet.
Thanks, Mervyn. Is there any questions? Anybody who wants to make a comment? I think it's a very, very valuable subject. I'm just sitting here and thinking about all the years I had to spend with Alan telling us about these crashes, and it's so important that we understand these things. I always tell the guys in the Chamber of Mines and the Minerals Council, we only make big rocks, small rocks, and we do a hell of a lot of that. Remember, aggregate is the most mined mineral in the world. They don't do it in Holland because they'll sink that stupid little island. But yeah, and we want to get one of your crushers to go and take Table Mountain away so they can have a sea view. So we'll work on that one. But Mervyn, thanks. That's just on the lighter side. The stuff that you've given us, Alan has shared his presentation. That will go out. It'll be on our website. And then this copy of this session will be on the YouTube. So you just go onto YouTube, you type in ASPASA, and you then say, okay, training, and then it comes up. When you get this, you can also share this with your clients, maybe in the training course. But thanks, Mervyn, and thanks, Alan. Thanks for being so eager. Thanks, guys. Right, now our next speaker is Jaco van Wyk. Jaco is a very clued up guy in the mining industry. He worked for a big company. I'm going to let him tell you who he is, where he was, and so forth. Thanks, Jaco, and welcome.
Thank you, Nico. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, I'm Jaco van Wyk, as Nico says, and I've been privileged to work in two worlds. I first worked for BHP Billiton for the first part of my career, the first 11 years. I was in production. I'm a metallurgist, and I ran production furnaces. Then I moved over to SHEC, and I ran their SHEC department at a site. And then I moved over to a contracting company. You might all know them, Fraser Alexander. And suddenly I was so shocked. My training budget I had previously with BHP Billiton was cut down. You could almost divide it, I think, by 100. And we still had to work safe. We still had to work safe right across the country. So that's when I realized that the missing link here is that we have to train our external people. The law says so, there's nothing you can do about it. But I started realizing that awareness training is not there. It's included in most standards because it's very, very important in raising the level of training in your organization. And that's why I started this service, our Business Enhancement Partners Training Video Service. And I'll quickly tell you what it is, and you'll see the benefits of it as we go, and then we can discuss it afterwards. I must just say, I thought I had 20 minutes, and I saw on the presentation today it's only 10. Maybe it was a mistake, but I'm going to try and stick to the time, so I'm going to cut out certain sections. What service are we offering? We offer customers access to a growing online health and safety video library containing quality pre-recorded awareness and domain-specific content for streaming to your training audiences. This service is offered through affordable subscription packages, including an option to rent individual videos. Our subscription plans provide unlimited customer access to all training content. Our service includes a downloadable training record for each video in our library. Because of time constraints, I'm just going to skip over why awareness training is important. I would rather want to tell you about our service. I think just two things here that's important for me is that awareness training equips every employee with knowledge and understanding to effectively participate in the organization's health and safety program. And that's where companies often miss it. That's what I picked up from Bulletin. If people are not on board with your program, the whole thing falls flat. It reminds and encourages employees to actively engage in the health and safety program and meet intended requirements. I'm just going to skip over the rest.
Jaco, I think it might have been a little typing mistake to give you only 10 minutes, so don't cut too much out, otherwise we lose the gist of it. So sorry for that. I didn't see that.
If I've got 20, then I can cover all, Nico. Then I'm going to go through it quickly.
Okay, I think we're on time so far. Okay. So great.
Let me just get back. Okay. So to get back to awareness training, it's legislated and a license to operate a sustainable business. It informs workers about their health and safety rights and how to correctly apply them. It's mandatory to comply with most voluntary health and safety standards, for example, ISO 45001. The substantial list of requirements for awareness training usually contained in these standards emphasize its importance towards overall health and safety. That's something that I learned quickly. Highlights key organizational health and safety objectives, makes employees aware of unwanted outcomes when not conforming to health and safety management, your health and safety management system, provides organizations with an opportunity to reinforce actions, behaviors, and learnings to prevent the reoccurrence of high-risk incidents. Very important. Highlights employees' impact on the effectiveness of the health and safety management system, including the benefits of improved performance. People that are in safety know that it's always a sell, and I mean, the more you educate people, the easier it is for them to get on board and take ownership of your health and safety program. Emphasize hazards, risks, and actions determined to be relevant to workers. So what video titles are currently available under the Mine Health and Safety Act in our library? We've started with employees' right to refuse dangerous work, safeguarding of machinery, lockout, tagout, workplace inspections, hazard and risk, hazard control, incident investigation, risk assessment, fatigue, emergency planning, basic workplace housekeeping, hazardous energy control, basic electric safety, introduction to confined space safety, design an effective PPE program, developing a general fall protection plan, basic health and safety responsibility, prevention of slips, trips and falls, portable fire extinguishers, substance use, hazards when working with conveyors, unsafe conveyor practice, and hazards when working with crushers. These usually create a lot of incidents from my metallurgical days. I can testify to that. So how could our service benefit your organization? Our service makes available important health and safety training content that can be included in employee competence and awareness training programs. It allows organizations to improve compliance with legal and voluntary third-party training awareness requirements. It helps to standardize the training experience across the organization as every employee are trained using the same content. And I think the benefit of the way that we offer our training, that you've got access to all, is that you are now in a position to train everyone in your admin department, in your buyers department, your security people. You can train them all because it becomes a lot more affordable. And the general level of awareness across your organization just raises. It lowers the cost of training by having access to a range of quality content at a low fixed monthly cost. It improves employees' bigger picture view of organizational health and safety as a result of receiving more complete and comprehensive training. You're not just training your check coordinator or your engineer because it's so expensive. That guy now comes back and he trains the rest of your people in your organization. and don't understand me wrong, external training you can't do without it. It's legislated. You've got to do that. But I think what I'm offering here is you can start training your people internally a lot cheaper, and you can train all of them. Allows frequent quality training, which contributes to embedding a culture of zero harm. Increases organizational flexibility concerning planning and execution of training programs by having unlimited access to suitable content. It caters for training related to the Mine Health and Safety Act and OSH Act to ensure that all companies can use our services, especially in the mining environment. The miner has got to comply to the Mine Health and Safety Act, but often contractors working on your site only have to comply to the OSH Act and then obviously the Mine Health and Safety Act requirements on your site. But now these people can also be trained, and you just train the OSH Act version of my training, and you also know that they comply to whatever is necessary on site. Who would benefit from our training? Organizations who view health and safety of their employees as non-negotiable. Realize that effective and well-implemented health and safety programs guard the ongoing sustainability and competitiveness of the business. Pursue health and safety compliance as one of their core values. Implement their health and safety programs across their business and want to equip every employee accordingly. Lack capacity to develop every aspect of their health and safety program, more specifically related to awareness and specialist domain training. Oftentimes, smaller mining companies and even mid-sized mining companies just throw their awareness training program to the poor SHEC coordinator or SHEC manager. They already have their hands full to do risk assessments, audits, to just service the production people. They haven't got time to apply their thought to develop proper material. And I think that's what we've done here. We've taken away that burden from them and make available material now so that they can just go out and train their people. Want to raise the quality of their training programs and standardize their training experience. Have intense cost pressures and have to pursue value for money in every aspect of their business. What benefits are offered to training departments? Training planning can be scheduled in advance and cater for specific employee needs, since the organization has access to a large library of relevant content. Scheduled training interventions can be altered to accommodate unforeseen circumstances without having to pay penalties. The training department can optimize their resource base by offering both facilitated and unfacilitated training interventions depending on the characteristics of the audience. You don't want to ask an engineer that does awareness training to go and sit in a session where he is supposed to spend his time on running the business. You just send this training module to him and ask him to do it in his own time, and then come back to you and say that he's done so. An engineer or someone like that already knows the basic stuff. You just want to remind him again about the whole program. So I think that's one of the big benefits as well. Facilitated training interventions can be adjusted according to customer requirements. For example, to introduce additional material, facilitate focused discussions. So you just take a portion of these videos, and in the morning you show a section, and then you have a discussion about that. And it's just more structured, there's more material, there's more discussion points. Split videos into different sessions, use translators, review content after incidents, etc. Generating training records have been made easy by making available pre-populated downloadable training records in Microsoft Word format for every video offered. So if the inspector pitches up at your plant, you just show him the records, it's done. Video receiving platforms, training locations, and the time of training can be varied to accommodate any destination with access to the internet. For example, a senior manager can complete a 20-minute training program by watching the content on her smartphone and listening to the audio through her AirPods while waiting for a client who ran late for her next meeting at her favorite coffee destination, and just inform the training department through email that she has done so for record purposes. Any portion of a video can be used to provide content for any group discussion to facilitate ongoing awareness initiatives. For example, a foreman can play a 2-minute section of any video to his team on his laptop screen as part of a 5-minute safety awareness initiative before starting the shift. Training groups of any size can be accommodated to better meet organizational requirements, since the cost of training is not impacted by the quantity of employees attending. Unwanted open spaces in trainer schedules can be optimized by filling up these openings with awareness training because of the immediate availability of prepaid content. For example, most companies use this time to schedule training with smaller support departments and so ensure that all employees are equally equipped to work safely. The health and safety awareness training budget can be predetermined over a fixed period. Which hosting platforms can be used to access our services? Smartphone, tablet, iOS or Android and Android devices that are upgradable to the latest software. The latest video browsers can adjust picture quality depending on the internet access speed. In general, I've tested it with many devices and it works in most locations that I've tested. PC or laptop, Apple and Windows, version 10 or 11 devices upgradable to the latest software. Performance might be impacted on older devices or devices equipped with older versions of system software. But in all the cases that I've tested, the software, the platform that we use is very clever. It immediately picks up what PC you've got and it adjusts the resolution and software accordingly. TV screen or projector. TV screens or projectors are able to connect directly with the internet or able to receive video footage from a casting device, either wirelessly or by connecting cable. So in your training department, if you've got a TV screen or a projector, you just connect it to your PC and you're ready to use my material and train people. It's important that I raise it here again. It's important that potential clients verify if their receiving video platform are suitable for using our video services during the free trial period. We offer a free trial period for all our material so that you can go out there and test it in your classroom, in your plant, wherever you're going to need it, and verify that our service will work for you. What is the cost of utilizing our services? You can access our service through a subscription or renting option. Subscription plans provide unlimited access to all our videos. All new customers receive a 14-day free trial period to test our service. So if you choose the monthly subscription, you pay R2,500 per month, giving you access to all our material. You can cancel anytime. If you want to do it cheaper, you can subscribe to our quarterly subscription option. It's R6,300 upfront. You cannot cancel it in your subscription period, and then your cost come down to about R2,100 monthly. Our annual subscription is R20,600 upfront. You cannot cancel it during that year, and then it works out to R1,800 monthly. If you've got a really small plant and you are prepared to plan your training, your awareness training, we also rent out our videos for R900 for 7 days. We can do unlimited training in that period for a full 7 days. We also offer extended training services, our company business enhancement partners. So for companies who lack trainer capacity or capability, we offer affordable virtual and classroom training services in line with customer-specific requirements. Please contact us for more information. Let me just see how I'm doing for time. Okay. I'm just going to show you quickly how to use our service. So how to join our subscription service. You will just type in the name as shown there on your screen into your internet browser and open the link. You click on the button Start your 14-day free trial to open our subscription options, and you select a plan from the menu like I just showed you. You type in your details, select your own password and tick that you agree to our terms and conditions. It's available for reading and press the continue button. You type in your credit card details and press the complete button. You will now have unlimited access to all our videos. At the bottom right corner, you will be reminded that you can cancel the service free of charge during the first 14 days. How to rent a video. Again, type in the same name. You select the drop-down list from the catalog item on the main menu bar. You choose whether you want to rent a video for industry or mining and make your selection on the drop-down list. You choose the video that you want to rent and click on the video icon. You click on the Get Access Now button. You choose Rent, the video that you've selected, and you type in your details again, like I've shown previously. If you have more questions about our service on the internet site, please visit our questions and answers section by clicking the question and answer items on the main menu bar. This page answers 26 more questions customers usually ask us, divided in the following 6 categories, namely 14-day free trial and other options, video and internet access, viewing videos on other devices, subscription and billing, password control, other. Take-home message, our benefits summarized. You've got affordable training and you can access all videos at our low monthly rate. You've got unlimited access. You can train individuals or groups 24/7 in line with your requirements. You've got high quality content, a growing video library with relevant industry content. There's our contact details and again our training video website's address. And that's my story for today. I can now take any questions that you might have.
Thanks, Jaco. Anybody with questions? But we will share your details on your presentation, so afterwards people could contact you directly if that's all right with you.
That's 100%. Thanks for the opportunity, Nico. And like I say, I mean, I really think there's benefit in using our product, and there's no funnies or anything. What you see there is what you get.
Okay. No, I believe you. No, thanks for that. Right, guys. The next speaker would have been Basil. Basil is still in a board meeting, so I'm going to ask Jacques Farmer if he could jump in now, and if Basil joins, then we'll ask Basil to kick off. But Basil has asked me to just swap around. So if it's possible, Jacques, and you will explain who you are and what you do. Thanks, Jacques.
Morning, Nico. Thank you for the opportunity. Can everybody see my presentation?
Your sound is very soft, and some names is front of your presentation. Yeah, there we are. There we are. But your sound is soft.
Kind of soft. Okay, let me just quickly.
We can't hear you very well. I think if you got to speak nearer, or maybe a headset or something. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
That's not right.
Just let me just pick up my PC. Can you hear me now?
There we are. That's better.
Okay, thank you, Nico. Right.
Thanks, Jacques.
Okay, right, Nico. Just a quick overview of our of what we can do from a Prisma point of view. We all know that COVID has been eating for the last 2 years, and I believe as per the other presenters, we are moving very quickly back into the norm of face-to-face training going forward. So just a quick introduction about what I'm going to present today. Obviously, I will present a bit about who's Prisma, where we come from, mandatory training, our product offerings, skills integration, career path, and lastly, the grant schemes. I think this is very important as we are moving towards the submissions of our workplace skills programs, as well as our annual training reports, and also the requirements within the MQA when submitting these type of applications. So just a quick feedback. Prisma is part of a workforce group. We are also listed on the JSE Stock Exchange. We are a level 1 BEE contributor with a 40% black female-owned company. Our footprint has increased over the last 4 years. We've got a couple of branches, 2 in the Northern Cape, Springbok as well as Kathu. We've got 1 in Imalahleni, Mpumalanga. We've got 3 in the northwest, Potchefstroom, Rustenburg, as well as Lephalale. Then we've got 1 in KZN, Richards Bay, and the last one which we recently opened is in Phalaborwa, which is one of our satellite companies where we give support to PMC and so on. Okay. Just a quick one, what we deliver. We deliver expert knowledge training, which is accredited with the Mining Qualification Authority. All our trainings with regards to professional training are on at least occupational directed E3P qualification level 5, and also registered at the Mining Qualification Authority, as I mentioned. All our learning material and training intervention are focused into increased productivity, efficiency, as well as safety in the working environment. We assist our current and possible new clients into submissions of work skills plan, as well as the annual training report. We believe we understand our clients' training needs, so we assist with almost 40% of all our clients in establishing their training budgets for the year, their training needs analysis, as well as deliveries on training interventions within the mining space. We assist with human capital development initiatives, both in 3 silos called our social labor plans, our corporate social initiatives, and as well as ticking the box in skills development on our BE, triple B, double E initiatives. And lastly, we do believe we've got a healthy relationship with all our clients, as some of our clients are still with us since the existence of our company. Just in short, I will go into detail a bit later on, but we do have 10 different type of qualifications, just over 400 short courses. We've trained just over 40,000 learners employed within the mining space over the last 8 years, and we also registered at the ISO 9001:2015. So just in short, and this I'm just going to give you a quick helicopter view of what we call about different types of training and where does it fit in. So first is our protocol training, where we look at inductions, first aid, relicensing. We just spoke about COVID and exemptions which the DMR gave to us with regards to licensing expired. We're now back on track in relicensing machines, lifting equipment training, as well as a code of practices, or as we know, it's standard operating procedures training. Then we focus on the operational and the cultural type of training, and it's 4 pillars that we mostly focus on. It's on the systems of training, the procedures of training, cultural diversity, ethical business practices, and benchmarking of the commodities within our industry. Then the DMR, obviously, as we all know, the blasting certificate, licensing to practice are at the DMR. So we assist learners and guide them, and also prepare them with regards to the blasting certificate, mining overseer certificate, as well as the mining manager certificate. So we do have people that prep on a monthly basis these learners to make sure that they do get past these exam boards. Lastly, it's more into our career development pathway, and this is, we've got a couple of areas which we focus on. I'm just going to use some of them. Obviously, it's our mining technical space, which focus on examine and make safe and working place, your blasting assistant, your your safe health environment, representative training, operator mobile machinery, mineral processing, and beneficiation. Then also we move into our construction and our transport training within career path development. So just a quick overview of the nature of our business. We are a specialized training provider. We're operating both in mining, construction and transport. Our primary focus obviously is in open cast mining and underground mining, with the specific emphasis on mine technical training as well as mineral processing and beneficiation training. Then our aim is into career path development, with the focus on human capital development, to ensure that we're not only training people on the technical side of training, but also in the behavioral skills or the human skills into developing them. Lastly, there's a huge drive this year, and I've sent out an article to Mining News. It was also captured by the Namibian Mining News with regards to community development. The time is right, 2020, for community development, and we believe that there's going to be a huge drive, specifically after the last 2 years in COVID. Nothing much happened, that there's going to be a drive in how we develop and look after the community within our mining areas. Accreditation, as I mentioned, we are accredited at a couple of accredited bodies: the Mining Qualification Authority, the Quality Council of Trade and Occupation. We also registered the Construction CETA, the Transport CETA. We are registered at the Department of Labour for our first aid credentials, and then also we are registered at the Independent Education Body. That is specifically for our foundation learning competency, as well as our arbeit levels within our industry. Training network, as I mentioned, we are our head office is in Potch, where I'm sitting, and then we've got 5 fully operational branches with a couple of satellite training centers in South Africa. We also train both over the last 2-3 years. We've been training not only in South Africa, specifically in the COVID space. We've even trained in Ghana, Chile, as well as in Namibia and Botswana over the last 2-3 years. Just quickly on our product offerings. As I mentioned, we've got 10 full qualification. I'm just going to mention a couple of them. Is our National Certificate in Rock Breaking Surface Excavation. We do consist also of the mineral processing and beneficiation of the level 2 qualification, level 3 qualification, as well as the level 4 qualification. We've got skills programs that supporting both our mine technical training, as well as our mineral processing training, as well as our construction and our transport training. We do have just over 25 different types of health and safety short courses that we present within the industry, and please, unfortunately, the time doesn't allow me to go through each of them. Legal compliance training we've got with refreshers and relicensing and first aid and legal liability type of training, which we also present on a 1-day period. Then we've got machinery equipment training. What does that mean? We've got simulators that we use within the industry, which is easily movable and transportable within 24 hours once we've received an order within the mobile machinery simulator space. We also have got Vienna testing systems, or some of you might know it as the Dover assessments, which obviously calculate your psychometric testing within the industry, which is also a prerequisite for any operator to be tested before he starts operating a mobile machinery. Okay, specialized courses, and this is just a few of them. We focus on the lifting equipment, the soft skills, environmental training. Our training equipment is quite popular, specifically over the last COVID period, where the trainers was quite restricted with being in the cab with the learners, whereby we deployed the simulators on site, and the effect or the performance in that was quite tremendous. We also look at trainer development within the industry with all our clients. Some of our clients, they do have the subject matter experts, but they not necessarily have the trainer component. So we then sit with them and we develop them on the occupational directed education and training development pathway. As I mentioned, we've got the Vienna testing systems or the Dover testing system. We've got development courses, and we just developed over 200 and I think 232 different types of community development project or training initiatives, which has been deployed all over South Africa. We recently also have done a couple in the Northern Cape, which I think it was in conjunction with Komatsu, as well as Tharotech and immersive technology. This is just very lastly, and then I want to maybe stand a bit still here. When it comes to our work skills plan and our annual training report, which needs to be submitted end of April this year, with regards to training conducted within the industry, and also as a mandatory requirement for us to submit this to keep with our license agreement of mines, is that all mining license holders must apply for what we call a workplace approval. Now, this might seems new to all of you, but I will urge you to either contact me if you're comfortable to discuss this with me, or you can contact the MQA to give you guidance on this. We are more than willing to assist and guide to make sure that we get to the end result of workplace approval. What does that mean for you as the industry within the mines? Is that you will only qualify for a grant scheme if you've got workplace approval. In the past, the providers normally applied for what we call a site extension when we start doing training at our clients. It has been changed now due to the fact that we're moving into the Quality Council of the Trade and Occupation. That is now, it is the client is accountable to apply for workplace approval at their site. Now, once we've done that, and I've listed six pillars of grant schemes, and I just spoke about the community development grants. So what we do with this, we sit down with the clients. We know there's a huge drive in community involvement and community upliftment. So we look at development issues and how we can intervene. And then at the same time, we look at ways in which we can then apply for grants from the relevant CETAs to support your social labor plan initiative when it comes to community development. Compliance grants, for example, there's grants available in your SHE space. There's grants, for example, in your operator development space. So these are type of grants that we can look for. Pivotal grants is more into people moving in and out in your mine into the retrenchment or early retirement phases. We can look at various initiatives that we can assist with that. Career path development, and this is obviously where we speak about your non-artisanal and your artisanal grants, which is available within the industry. There's a huge list also, once again, on the MK website. Once again, we are also here to assist if the need is there when it comes to applying for these grants. There's a coaching and mentoring grant, which is quite a nice grant specifically in the industry where we find ourselves in, where we keep on getting new employees in. So there's a grant available which we can apply for easily, and your company can benefit from you to have actual coaching and mentoring sessions with your employees. Then lastly, obviously, is the lecturing grant. The lecturing grant is for those of us that present on a higher education level or TVET colleges level, whereby we then apply on your behalf for the time that you spent at the college, so that your employer at least can get a benefit for you presenting there. Okay, this once again is just in a nutshell. This is just a couple of our clients which we're currently servicing for. There's much more, and yes, I believe this year is definitely going to be the year for change, specifically in how we perceive training, specifically with the Quality Council and Trade and Occupation coming closer, and also the way in the movement of the Mining Qualification Authority when it comes to workplace approval. Even if you don't have a levy number, there's still a way in which we can try and grant you access to these type of grants available specifically at the MQA. This is just my contact details. I also included Carol Brandt, which is our metallurgist in this space, and I will look after the mine technical space when the need is there. Please feel free to contact me anytime, specifically when it comes to assistance with grants or training initiatives within the mining space. I will be more than willing and happy to assist you in that regard. Thank you, Nico.
Thanks, Jock. Great presentation. We'll circulate the stuff as we said. I see Basil hasn't come in yet. I've just got one additional person which will do a very short presentation, and then if Basil doesn't come in, we'll catch him next time. We'll have another one of these sessions once we can get it going. Let me just get this thing in. I just want to get something sorted out here.
There we go. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Malcolm Siebert, and I've been very kindly invited by Nico to attend your session here today. My background is in the management consultancy field. I've worked for some of the big consulting firms, and the last 30 years I ran my own consultancy business, which specialized in training and human resource development. History-wise, I've worked with a little over 200 companies all over Southern Africa, into Europe, North America, South America. Even did a very nice 14-month stint in Mauritius, which was quite a lot of fun, I must admit. However, it would be very arrogant of me to arrive here and assume I knew what your requirements were within the industry as such. So I've really been on a very sharp learning curve here this morning. Thank you to everybody for that. And what I'd like to do is to put together a very brief presentation, which I'll forward to Nico, which will just really outline what it is that I do. Suffice to say that it's in the non-technical side. I think you've certainly got enough resources on the technical elements of your industry. So it'll be on the non-technical side. And as I say, I will forward this on to Nico and ask him to forward it on to you guys. And then we can take it from there, and let's see if we can find some common ground to take it forward and work together. Thank you very much indeed.
Right, I'm back. What did he say? I'm back. I don't see Basil. Basil is not here. No, Basil is not here. It's Barry. Barry, you want to ask a question, Brew?
No, it's not so much a question. It's more just in connection with what I think Basil would be looking at putting forward. It's something that I've mentioned at the technical committees, and that is the training that is available through SAF, the South African Road Federation, on the new COTA document, chapters 4 and 5. I know there is a training course coming up quite soon on that, and I think it would be a really good course to sit in on, particularly because they've split supply and construction of the materials in the roads industry now in the new COTA document. So chapter 4 has specifically got to do with the supply of material, and it's that cutoff point now where you're sitting with whose responsibility is it up to this point, which is the suppliers, in this case ASPASA, and then at what point does the contractor take over that scenario. So I think just have a look on the SAF website. That training, I know it's coming up sometime in February for chapter 4 and 5, and I think it'll be very beneficial for any of the ASPASA members to sit in on that particular course itself, besides the other courses that SAF also present.
Thanks, Barry. Yes, he will let me have the whole relevant section, and I'll attach it to the circular. I see Jim wants to say something. Jim?
Yeah, Nico, I'd just like to say I'm blown away with the quality of the presentations you've had today in your meeting. And it's really wonderful to see that there's so much resource available, and it's so well focused, not just on safety, but broader, call it skills and management development. It really is great that the the private sector and consultants and everybody are coming forward, and that there are grants available for doing this training. And it's not just as Mervyn mentioned about avoiding the costs of injuries and the costs of downtime, but it's also much more about the motivation of employees. And that's really where the benefit of training comes in the broader sense. And it's also important, and going back in my own experience, in all of these courses, to make sure that language deficiencies are overcome. You can have great training going on and the guy is nodding his head, but they don't really understand maybe what's being said. So that is a challenge from my experience. And I think also it's great that there are such call them online stuff, videos and so on available, but it's important that the management backs up all of this, that they nod their head and really reinforce the importance of the training. And it comes back to what I was saying originally, the CEO commitment on training, not just on safety, but everything is very, very important. And I'm delighted to hear also that a number of speakers, Jacques in particular, mentioning about the offering the facility for training outside of South Africa into other adjacent countries in Africa. And that to me is a platform by which ASPASA itself could develop its expertise and membership across outside of South Africa itself, and really become a driving force in a much broader sense for the greater good of the industry, the mining and quarrying industries, even beyond South Africa. Those are my quick comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. I think what you've raised now, I never thought about it, but a lot of this training that we've got here, we could share in some way or other with our colleagues in GAIN. I remember you set up a whole session where we were trying to find out if we could get help with training, and there was a body that promised us, but they haven't come forward. I think they only want to stay in the UK. They don't want to go out of it. So we will then take that space and we will send you this, and we can advertise all of this with our colleagues, our GAIN colleagues. So great. I never thought about that, but that's fantastic. Thanks, Jim. And unless there's somebody that's really got something to say, I think we've really pushed it. We've had some excellent input. I'm contemplating of continuing with this process, and maybe even through ASPASA system have short courses, introduction course and stuff like that. I'll speak to Annika, and I'll speak to, there's a whole lot of us that can do it. I mean, Barry's got some nice videos where maybe we can charge a small fee for a 3-hour course or something, and even Yaku has got some stuff. So I'll get Basil's stuff from him and I'll share that. But thanks a lot. Okay, if there's anybody else, comment, question, then I think we should end it. Annika, how long will it take for us to get this on YouTube? A day or two, hey?
By tomorrow. By tomorrow, definitely. We can have it on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have the one we did yesterday that I've sent to you.
Sorry?
We can get it by tomorrow.
Yeah. We just need everybody's talks, so their presentations, to send it to office at ASPASA, and Annika then will include it so that people have your material, have your contact details. I think that's the important thing, the contact details, because there is a lot of training that you guys raised here that I forgot about. I mean, the 2 years have made me forget. So yeah, there's a lot of good material here. Excellent. Thank you very, very much, and keep in touch. And we will definitely continue with this, whatever you want to call it, training session, and maybe we can start doing actual training on Teams. We'll ask around and ask who wants to do it. And Jim, thank you for coming from all the way from Ireland, and that was great. And we'll see you again in due course. I think we're having a meeting next week.
Yeah, indeed. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody, and go well, please. Be safe.